Good evening, Ivan Daly. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Denise. And are you
I'm
well?
good. I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and have loads of questions to ask you. But firstly, how has lockdown affected you and your daily routine, or has it?
It has a bit. I think at initially in the first stages of lockdown, there was a bit of uncertainty there. I think for everyone, it was kind of an odd time, and I think for me personally, the schedule of my day didn't change really at all. My day job's in a medical device company, so um, the work day didn't change for me. I didn't have any sort of extra time off or anything like that. I still had
Yeah.
scheduled to go in and out to work, and so yeah, it didn't bear any sort of difference for me. Apart from the fact that maybe you had a kind of a loss of creativity for a while, just kind of trying to
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
What's
But
going on? Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
is that your studio you're in at the moment? So is this from
yeah.
do you work from home?
Yeah, I work from home. We bought this house about 5 or 6 years ago, myself and my wife Brona, and this is the garage section of it. It's an 80s bungalow, so
Perfect.
it's kind of built in with the house. And we put in French doors where the garage door used to be, and I put in a flooring underneath, kind of a inexpensive kind of timber flooring,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
just put in insulation upstairs. And yeah, it works like a dream. It's great.
It's
Plenty of light
perfect.
in here as well, so
Yeah.
good bit of space. It's grand. It's really good.
So you're originally from Waterford, but you've now
Yeah,
settled in Clare.
yeah,
So obviously all your landscape works are based on what you see every day. I presume this is you don't work from photographs. I know from your video you sent you were down there at the cliffs. And so
yeah.
do you prefer to do that?
Yeah, like I think a lot of the preparation I do to do these paintings comes from taking visits there and gathering as much information as I can, really. Um, and I do use photographs in the way that they're kind of more of a jumping off point.
Mhm.
Um, and they are something that I refer to through the process of making the work as well. Um, but I have a kind of a way of painting where I keep it very limited, like a limited palette as well, so that all I really need is kind of maybe the lines and the textures and stuff, and I kind of work from that, that way, and try and make the composition work within the painting as well. But where I am, where we're living at present, is about maybe half an hour to 40 minutes away from the coast.
Wow.
So um, I would kind of normally just kind of pack up the car or, just pack up the gear bag and just drive off and go off for the day taking photographs or doing sketches. Or if the weather's good, I usually, bring some paints and stuff like that and make sketches. So
Okay, so you like plein air painting as well, do you?
yeah, I don't do it as often as I should, I think, that kind of way. Sometimes kind of time can be on not on your side as
Well,
such when it comes
yeah,
to.
you're busy working as well. It's difficult.
Yeah. It's mostly a kind of and as well as that, I kind of have limited time to be at the site as well. So in order to it's a kind of a trade-off between getting as much information and sketching as I can, and
Mm.
and being there painting as well. Is kind of being there painting is more as in taking my oils out as well, to work with.
Mm.
Is much, it's kind of a time consuming, but I'm trying to work towards doing that more often and being a bit more immediate towards the future. That's kind of my main aim now, to go towards that.
And do you always pick the same spot, like, or do you travel around to different coastlines?
Yeah, initially, I suppose where I started was Doolin, and Doolin was a spot that um, it kind of was a place that I knew it was there all along, but I once you walk it or you kind of explore it a little bit more, I think that's really where it kind of kicked off the idea of doing work
Mm,
from there.
mm,
Um, so by kind of increments, it was kind of I was going to do maybe a few paints and see how they worked, and then maybe kind of go into it a bit more. And the coast along Doolin, there's lots. Yeah, I kind of begun to find lots of different compositions in there so that I could
mm,
use, that I could explore, and that kind of jump started then really that I was doing paintings within a 1 kilometer of the coastline, that kind of way. So
mm,
it was, and I kind of liked that restriction as well because it forced you to look at the coastline a little differently.
mm.
Um, that you could maybe look at one place from a different, multiple angles and assess it that way, as opposed to just looking for a grand sort of a, vista or something like that that tidies everything together. So I kind of enjoyed that challenge of it as well. But it really is, it has developed from there to go up maybe more uh, down to the west to explore the places that I might have visited before but never really considered in
Uh,
that sense.
yeah. And what
Yeah.
about your own hometown? Have you ever painted Waterford? I remember a client had asked you if you would be
Yeah,
interested in
yeah,
doing it. You have, I don't think you have you?
I haven't. Yeah, it's yeah, it's something that I've meant to do, and I have traveled the coast down in Waterford, and it's not just the coast when I was younger, but it's
Hmm.
when, like I was saying, that you're kind of more in tune with what you're looking for now. Um, and
Yeah.
I did kind of go along the coast, say from Tramore all the way to Dungarvan, just to see what was
Mm.
there. And the coastline there is magnificent as well.
Oh, it's
But
amazing.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a totally different coastline
Mm.
though. It's the colors are a lot warmer.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of how would I say it? It's kind of like Wales in a way. You know, it's just the way it's laid out. And but some parts of it though are kind of hard to get onto or hard to kind of explore more readily. So that's something I want to look at into the future. But it's really just about time, and
Yeah.
the coastline here is so near as well. It makes it handier to explore that first and then work around and see what possibilities are there too.
How did you actually end up in County Clare? Did you have family there, or was it just you fell in love with it?
Well, I went here initially to go to college.
Okay.
So I went to Limerick School of Art and Design and studied printmaking. Not initially, no. I went here with the view to do graphic design.
Okay.
And in first year, then graphic design kind of wasn't really what I was looking for. It was more illustrative sort of area. And it was advised then that I kind of maybe try out printmaking for a while. And I ended up doing a degree in it. And I met my wife in college as well, Brona, and she, we, I stayed here. That was it. Yeah, we had an apartment in Limerick, and yeah, and the rest is history. We gradually moved out from the city out to the countryside, and this is the house that we've been. I suppose I think we'll spend a long time here for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, yeah, beautiful landscape. Why would you leave?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
I
studied
find.
art in college. Is your family creative, or were you the only
Um,
one?
yeah, my sister used to draw when she was younger, but mostly they would have been geared towards the musical side of the arts. My dad used to be a traditional musician. He died 4 years ago, but he he was very popular around the area for playing music, and a lot of my extended family are as well. Um, and there's I can't think of any other artists that are pursuing, trying to pursue as a kind of a career, or I'm sure there are in my extended family somewhere, but but they've always had an interest in the arts as such. But in terms of any painters or printmakers, no, I think as far as I know that I'd be the only one in my family anyway, for sure. Yeah.
So I imagine then you would like to be a full-time artist eventually. I mean, the work you're producing is quite a lot so I know you must be under pressure all the time to keep it up, but I know it's your passion. I presume eventually you'd love to do it full-time.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the goal, and it's not a really very dramatically big goal that I have. It's mostly just to make a living from doing what I love, really. And I think it's been kind of a long time in the making as well, because I've had it a good few years after I left college where I didn't make very much art. There was I would keep up sketchbook work and be involved in little projects on the side and stuff like that. But in terms of the way things have progressed now, say over the last 4 years, 5 years, it's given me a bit of confidence to sort of pursue sort of a full-time career as an artist.
Yeah, it's a scary leap, isn't it?
Yeah, I can imagine. Still got bills to pay, yeah, and I think I speak for a lot of artists, if not 99% of them, where it is a case of you need a bit of stability in order to try and kind of push yourself out a little bit more as well. Well, maybe the fear of just being a full-time artist really pushes you in places you've never been pushed before, but yeah, it's nice to have the security, but also it would be excellent to have more time to devote to it as well.
Well, I think go for it. You'll do really well. Yeah. So far, you've been so well received with us in the gallery. It's been wonderful.
Oh, great. That's great. Yeah, great.
It's all landscape work that I'd seen until the lockdown. I noticed that you were experimenting a bit more. How did this? So were you always doing landscapes, or do you think you'll move away from it?
It's a good question. I think through the years, I've always kind of gravitated towards it, and I think it was just a case of where I was maybe at certain times. Like for example, when I was in college, I was living in a city, so I used the urban kind of settings and themes and the environment to use that to make the work. And then I suppose as we gradually moved out of the country, I was kind of a bit more kind of using the landscape as a subject, and it just, I suppose that's the way it's kind of fallen over the last few years, and I think that a lot of the work now has come from that urban environment as well. There's a kind of a mixture between the two. Very structural kind of work as well. But yeah, in lockdown, I was doing some portraits, sky art.
I know, yeah, they were lovely. Yeah, and it was just so refreshing to see something different. That's really, really good. So how did that come about? Did you just try it out?
Yeah, it was running for a couple of weeks by the time I kind of jumped on board, and I just decided one morning, I'll give it a go and try it. And it was particularly for that reason. It's just sometimes it's nice to kind of change the pace
and challenge yourself into different areas.
Yeah, to do something a little different. And I kind of when I was younger, I was always drawing faces and doing portraits and stuff like that. And that was a skill that I kind of learned at an early age. But you kind of lose that through the years. So it was kind of nice to get back into that.
Yeah. sometimes nice to even do a life drawing class still every week, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think life drawn is a thing that I pursued there about 10 years ago. I kind of restarted doing that. Um, and it was through a local life drawing group called the Limerick Figure Drawing Society. And they had regular classes, or they still do have regular classes. Um, and that was great to have the opportunity to do that, because you're just flexing different types of muscles, really, in order to draw the figure and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, who knows? I suppose, yeah, you're drawn back to the whole question, I suppose, of time and where you devote your energies to, I suppose, at a specific moment. But I'd love to try all those. I just.
If somebody asked for a commission of the portrait, would you take it on?
Yeah, I would. I would probably be a bit terrified at first. It's not for the faint-hearted, because there's a lot of things around portrait that, like for example, the sitters movement, and you have to kind of nail a likeness as much as you can, and but it's definitely worth the challenge. Yeah, it's definitely worth the challenge.
So, would you do a commission of a landscape, no problem, for clients, or?
Yeah, I would. And usually I would try and stay within the realms of what I do and how I do it as well. Because I think it's a kind of very particular thing now. It's developed into something that's very particular. I suppose maybe stylistically, maybe, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, I'd be open to anything, any kind of possibility, really. Yeah.
And so when you start a piece off, do you always sketch it out on the canvas first? Or how do you work it? Do you just get straight in, or do you use palette knife and brushes, or because some of your pieces are quite textured as well?
Yeah. Well, initially, as I was saying, I kind of go out to the site, I gather a bit of information, as much information as I can. I take that all back to the studio, I suppose, like I was saying in the video, and I do charcoal sketches from it. I do maybe some acrylic painting, whatever. I suppose maybe if you're trying to solve problems, you kind of use that. With charcoal sketching, you kind of work out these sort of value differences and see if they will actually work in the final piece, or if you went ahead and did a painting to see if the basic structure works. Because I think that is the primary sort of thing that needs to happen, is that there needs to be a bit of balance there. It needs to work well with the eye, and and that kind of helps along the way, doing those sketches and working out ideas. But then there are some images that I take or sketch that I go straight into. I kind of tell myself, yeah, it's going to work. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And I end up scrapping it or working over it. Yeah, it's just you kind of go with the ride, I suppose. Yeah, but I do work mostly with palette knives and brushes. I kind of started to use rollers now, ink rollers, and using paper towels as well to try and generate different effects. I'm just kind of interested in seeing how far I can kind of push that side of it as well, and make it as kind of unpredictable, the surface as unpredictable as possible, as well. I want to get it as far away as being from actually doing an image purposefully, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's all about trying to keep it as random as possible. Yeah.
And do you always have a few pieces on the go?
Yeah. I think I have to, because a lot of the time pieces need to sit, and they need to sit on the wall. I have to look at them for a few days and see what needs adjusting, because you might have a night where you kind of go, geez, that's a great night, that's a good night's painting. And then the next day you come back and you go, oh, I'm not too sure anymore. You know, you kind of get.
I think that's one of the things with the lockdown, since the gallery has been open. It's been so lovely to see the artists bringing in their new work, and you can see they've taken their time on it and they've gone back over and over it again. So I feel like, that's what that's what you need to do, isn't it? Is just keep looking at it over and over again.
Yeah, you do. And I think as well there comes a point where you can't look at it anymore. You actually have
the signature goes on.
Yeah, the signature goes on. You kind of have to take a risk with it sometimes. Yeah.
Do you know though when it is finished? Are you quite good at that, or do you find sometimes you have to? Someone has to tell you to stop?
Yeah, I mean, there have been a few times now. I maybe get Brona into the studio to ask her, like, what she thinks, or and she's always a good guide. Like she will always say,
she'll tell you the truth.
yeah, she will. Oh yeah, she will tell the truth, and she'll kind of say, okay, maybe it's a little overworked, or maybe need a bit more here or whatever. And I kind of go with that, and sometimes I kind of conflict. Then I kind of say, no, I kind of wanted to keep that or something like that. So
debate.
Yeah, it kind of fixes things in your own head as well. If you like a certain area of the painting, you kind of go, yeah, I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to, but that can be helpful as well. But in terms of knowing when a painting is finished, I'm getting better at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you get more confident, don't you?
Yeah.
As you do more and get older and get,
Exactly.
And what about titles then, Ivan? Do they mean a lot to you? Do you just title them anyway?
Yeah. With titles, I tend to title them after they're finished anyway, for a start. And initially, when I started doing a coastal series, I wanted them not to be tied to a place as such, because in that way,
you want them to be anywhere, so people can connect with them.
That's the idea. That's the idea. But also to kind of give the viewer the idea that these are places that if I title them, I kind of felt maybe like that at that time, or there's a certain sort of physicality that I wanted to bring across. I kind of want to kind of give them sort of singular sort of titles, one word with a bit of that, provokes a bit of energy, or provokes something to do with what's happening in the piece. And sometimes, the titles can, I don't know, I just like the sound of the word. That could.
Yeah.
There was one painting I did about 2 years ago I called Gull Drift, and it had nothing to do with the actual piece, but it was. I distinctly remember while I was there was a gull drifting, up and down. Yeah, just on the rush of the wind coming off the cliff.
Yeah.
And I thought, that'd be brilliant. It's good, nice, simple title. But it was kind of a little bit more personal, because of what I witnessed there. So it's just
it's like double mean. And just lastly, do you have any artists that you look up to? I know from showing the work in the gallery, you're always compared to Teskey, which is lovely. Do you have any artists that you look up to or follow or mentor with, or?
Yeah, God, it's too numerous to mention. I remember seeing Teskey's work there, a long, long time ago. Although he did have a show in the Hunt Museum in Limerick there, I think about 3 years ago, maybe at this stage. But I did see his title narratives work. It must have been about 15, 16 years ago now, I think, at this stage. And I remember thinking, wow, it was such an immersive way of painting, and it does. Yeah. I suppose I didn't see anything kind of on that scale, for one, and to be done so freely and loosely as well. There was Nick Miller's Truckscapes as well that I saw. I think it was around the same time, and I I think that was brilliant because it was so observational, but so just to park a truck up and drawings from what you see out the back of the truck. I thought it was just such a
Yeah.
really really strong way of doing work. So yeah, it kind of, I suppose in a way, it kind of let me know that landscape was still a viable sort of direction to go in as well. Still had that. But in terms of people, I mean, it's too numerous to mention. I mean, it's all the Irish artists like William Leach or Casey or Yates. There's a couple of American artists then, Alex Kinevsky and William Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be careful. Yeah.
And do you have a good network of friends that are artists that you communicate with, or?
Yeah, when I was, I haven't gone now in quite a while now, but with the Limerick Figure Drawing Society, there's a good group of artists there, that it was good to kind of, catch up with them. Over the years, we've had a few shows, and I suppose as well, being in the kind of the country as well, where I am, I'm kind of more or less of kind of a solitary creature, that kind of way. Yeah,
we all are after this long.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, and I think it would be nice. I mean, bar maybe meeting people at exhibition openings or such like. Yeah, I suppose your day is kind of filled up with just coming home from work and getting a few things done and then going into the studio. So yeah, any time that you do get to catch up with people, like it's great. Yeah.
Do you mind painting at night time? Because your paintings have great light in them. I mean, does it matter what time of day you paint?
It doesn't actually. No. I kind of put in some good lighting into the studio as well. So that kind of helps too. And the next day I kind of assess it with the daylight.
Yeah.
Just to compare and make sure I'm kind of going in the right direction as well. But in general, I paint in an evening time, and sometimes I do early mornings, but that's when I'm kind of under pressure to actually get stuff finished.
But, the deadlines for art fairs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it is lovely to paint that hour of the morning as well, because it's a totally different. Your mind is a little bit more settled as well. But generally, yeah, most of my time is spent with evening work and using the daylight lights that I have here, just to know that I'm not going too far astray with the colors. So, yeah, it seems to work out. It's
definitely working out. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and I can't thank you enough, Ivan, for your time this week. It's been really, really good fun getting to know you. So thank you so much.
Thanks. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Denise.
Look forward to seeing everything in the gallery very soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Take care.
Bye.